I greet you all in the name of our Lord. Thank you so much for loving Family TV. Thank you so much for watching Health Pot. This program is brought to you by Makerere University School of Public Health, together with Family TV. Adrian Austin Mukalazi is my name. And I have good news for you. You who has always been wondering how you watch us on your Star Times decoder. Please rescan your decoder. You'll find Family TV right there. And of course, we are here with our panelists. Mebo Murungi, our sign language interpreter, and we are with Dr. Hanifah Naamala Sengendo. We are glad. She's from the Stepping Stone platform, and she's an adolescent health and teen expert. But of course, she's also a mentor. And we are here purposely because early this week on Monday, 11th, was the International Day of the Girl Child. And we really want to understand what the importance of this day is. And as we shall flow, just keep your eyes on HealthPort and Family TV. Doctor, you're most welcome to today's show.
Thank you once again, because I've been on this important program before.
Yes.
I thank all our viewers for interesting us, because we come to give knowledge. Yeah, so it's really a very important show, Health Pot. Yeah.
We are delighted.
Thank
so,
you.
Dr. Hanifah,
Yeah.
we really want to understand the importance of the International Day of the Girl Child. What is it? What is the importance of commemorating it?
Okay, thank you very much. 11th October every year, the world over commemorates the International Day of the Girl Child. And in particular, the focus is on adolescent girls. An adolescent is a girl between 10 to 19 years. Of course, these days we see even children who are around 8 and 9 years, they have all features of adolescence.
Yes.
So the world over put together a theme. Every year there is a theme for the International Day of the Girl Child. This year's theme is, because we are still in the same week, is digital generation, our generation, and our, they mean the adolescent girls. It is very critical. The day was put up because, from time immemorial, the girl child has been disadvantaged.
Yeah, that's true.
Because of gender, because of biological, the vulnerability of the girl child is different from that of the boy child. Not saying that the boy child doesn't have his own,
Because
black spots.
We're also waiting
for
that
the boys,
day of the boy
of the boy child.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was put together just to reaffirm and let the world wake up about the issues that particularly affect the girl child. And in this era of COVID, my dear, you should know that things have happened a lot.
Exactly.
So the theme of digital generation is very timely. Why? During the COVID time now, and we shall never have a non-COVID era.
Exactly.
It will be either COVID or post-COVID. So in a way, we shall still have the COVID. Technology became more necessary than before.
Yeah.
But also, as you note, do you know that our children will live with technology for the rest of their lives?
Whether we like it or not.
Whether we like it or not. I mean, that is the reality.
It is now the new normal.
It is the new normal of COVID. It is the new normal of digitalization. So, things of internet connectivity cannot go unnoticed. But, the girl child, even amidst that, remains very unfortunate. Because, when COVID came, those who were able started using online classes.
Yeah.
But you still know such arrangements actually benefit the well-to-do. Because you imagine the people down in the village. Do they have internet?
No.
They don't even have power, So, meaning that the children still get disadvantaged. But the girl child, even some of us, in our own homes, if there is an opportunity of a phone, they would rather give it to the boy to study than the girl. Why? Because they say, are you a girl, you'll get spoiled. And that mentality actually lets the girl miss out opportunities. We know culturally, even as we talk about digitalization, it's the girls mostly who go to fetch the water down
That's
there
true.
in the village.
And it is known as their responsibility.
It is known as their responsibility. That is just a gender description. It is the girls who have a lot of house chores.
Yeah.
The cooking, the cleaning of the house. Meanwhile, the boys are there playing, the food, the whatever. So all this brings in conflicts to let people know that actually the girl child, we need a refocus. We need to reaffirm. We need to recommit ourselves that there are certain vulnerabilities that affect the girl child alone. And you know, when it comes to COVID, we've all known that Uganda is one of the countries with the highest levels of teenage pregnancy.
That's true.
So that means when the girl gets pregnant, she will miss out school, the sickness, the issues of delivery, and all those things, they affect the girl more than the boy. Because the boy, the moment, you know, many times they refuse the pregnancies. They say it is not mine. So they run away, they continue, they are studying. But the girl will stay with all the burden for the rest of their lives. And remember, children have a very critical time during their early years, what we call the early child development. Any time between birth and 8 years is a very critical time. So, the children you might find, much as right now as the adolescents, they get problems, but some of these problems are not actually starting when they are adolescents.
Yeah.
They start right from the time of birth up to the early days, which is the time between 0 to 8 years. And surprisingly, people don't seem to relate these things very well.
Exactly.
Yes, I totally appreciate that we should focus on the adolescent girl. But why don't we, you know, draw the ball backwards and think about issues of early childhood development?
Because we can only have an able girl.
Yes.
Just simply because of the proper early childhood.
Yes, because you note that during, for example, at about 2.5 years, 50% of the brain weight, the child has reached 50% of the brain that will actually be for an adult. Meaning that by 2.5 years, the child is exposure, the emotional, the intellectual, the social, the thought processes, they have reached about 50%. So whatever the environment, whatever happened, you know, is going to affect that child forever. So by the time you reach adolescent, a bit of your consequences have been determined on how your emotions, on how your cognition, your thinking, on how your brain connectivity has been during the early ages, between 0 to 8 years.
I think, Doctor, it's important that we talk about this proper early childhood development. Yeah, because we don't want to leave our viewers out there in suspense.
Yeah.
It is very important that they start at the starting point.
Yes, and you know, sometimes I tell people that COVID has given us advantages amidst all things. During the early years, between birth to 8 years, first of all, we have to know that in Uganda, for example, 1 out of 4 children that you find moving around, they have not been delivered in skilled hands.
That's true.
You live alone, you people who are here in Kampala, you are here in towns, it's as though everyone is delivered in a health facility. Children are delivered in the bushes. They are delivered in the non-trained traditional birth attendants. They are delivered by senior, you know, ladies.
The
you know, the muleruas, the people who think they know. But science has changed. So you find that we need, even as we celebrate the day of the girl child and we are looking at the adolescent, emphasis should begin at the time of birth. Where should mothers deliver? And why should they go?
For antenatal?
Where they should go for antenatal. They should do those early development requirements. You do your antenatal at least 4 times during pregnancy, so that you are examined, you assessed your risks, whether you have any risks. You are told what to eat and what not. You are told how to rest. You are taken through the birth process, what will happen, how to prepare for birth. I see mothers coming to hospital, they don't have a simple one sheet to wrap the baby even. And that is where development starts. By the time we are talking about the adolescent girl, this girl began before birth actually. At the time of birth is where things go wrong. Just a mere sheet to warm the baby can actually lead to developmental failure. The baby will not be warm. The baby will not be cared for. The baby will not cry. And the child will have unfit brain development. And I've told you that by the age of 2.5 years, almost 2.5, 50% of the brain has already been, connected. Yes. And it is growing. So the emotion, the thinking, all those things that will influence to have a good girl who can benefit the theme of digital generation has already been made during the early childhood development years. So as policymakers, as programmers, we need to refocus. Because by the time you are talking to an adolescent, maybe it is already too late.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know why I said COVID has given, I appreciate during those early years, children learn a lot through socialization. But now during COVID, who has been the main contact for socialization? It is the parents and the household itself and the neighbors and the community around, which is actually in a way is good.
Some parents lamenting, when is the president opening schools? We are tired, we are fed up of these children.
In context of education, that can be important. But in context of helping out in bringing out a holistic child, then you have had an opportunity. You are with your child.
Some have looked at it as a burden instead.
In context of them not going to school, yes. But in context of you as a parent being a primary giver, being a gatekeeper of your child's early days of growth, it has, given us opportunity. Because you should be able to have taught your child, even using local materials, playing, doing all these things. How do they greet? How do they wash things? How do they clean? All those are very, very critical. Now we are talking about digitalization. But remember also, digital era has its own issues.
Exactly.
It has its own issues. We have found children, now I'm talking in context of I being a coach and a mentor at the Stepping Stone platform, where I have seen children who have got issues with digitalization, and those issues started in early years. The child at 3 years was exposed to a high dose of the so-called digital. That the child has to be, analyte and
We have a very big problem that these days young children understand phones better than the parents.
Yes, they know apps. They know what, and incidentally those things are not age appropriate. So when we are talking about digital generation, we should begin during the early years. Because if you find a 3-year-old child opening apps that are not for their age, apps that have adult scenes, then the child's brain is going to develop a patch, is going to develop negativity. My son is 7 years. He was telling me about a program. I think it's an app that has tiger fight, or a tiger is powerful, something like that. What does that app do? it teaches children to be aggressive. So you see, the child is at 3 years, 5 years. They know about those apps. They are teaching them to be aggressive, that you are energetic. So you are there in your house, you are seeing your girl being aggressive, but it started down. That's why I'm saying let's refocus on early childhood development. You all know what has happened to Superman.
Yes.
He's saying he's declaring different gender identity. And people are supporting him and all that. Our children are learning all these things. These are favorite cartoons for our children. So when we are talking about commemorating the Day of the Girl Child, and we are talking about digital generation, let's go back and know that the most critical time should be during the early years of development.
Not the adolescents.
Not just the adult. The adolescent should be just a point in time. But remember, this is a whole life cycle. It is a life cycle from birth up to this adolescence age that we are talking about. So as we are discussing, we should be able to let people know that, excuse me, let's not just focus at this point in time. It is a cycle beginning from the early days. Otherwise, we are hitting ourselves negatively.
That's true.
You know, yes. By the time the child is 10 years, 13 years, has already misused the phone.
That's true.
You know, I totally appreciate that we are in the digital era. I told you, Edwin, that we shall never have a time when we are not in the digital era.
That's true.
Our children are going to be there forever. Maybe as we've been exposed a little late, but a child who is born today, we are in the 4th industrial revolution. We shall enter the 5th. I don't know where the revolutions will end. So these children will be exposed to digital era, things of internet and connectivity, but we had better discussed this in a life cycle process.
Doctor, at that very point, let us go shortly for a commercial break, and then when we come back, we are going to continue with that particular theme of digital generation.
COVID is a pandemic, and is a terrible disease. This thing kills in days. We should take everything it takes to prevent and avoid getting it. Like washing hands. What do you have to prepare to wash hands? Putting on a mask, you know, distancing. And if you are not attending a function, you are not attending a burial, will not stop that person from being buried, then don't go. And it's good we are in a digital era. We send money on mobile money as condolences to the people concerned and say, you know, we are sorry, we cannot come, you know, the situation. As simple as that. Our culture requires us to socialize, you know, be near somebody and console them. Yes, correct. But the situation prevailing at the moment doesn't allow. You know, these are simple matters. But you know, we take it simply. You have to wait for the police to remind you, people to run after you. But life is yours.
Protect yourself from COVID-19 by washing your hands with soap, wearing your mask, keeping your distance, getting vaccinated, avoiding crowds, staying at home, and avoiding shaking hands and hugging.
Welcome back from the commercial break. This is Health Pot, brought to you by Makerere University School of Public Health. Edwin Austin Mukalas is my name. Mebo Murungi, the sign language interpreter, and we are with Dr. Hanifah Naamala Sengendo. She's taking us through the basics of early childhood development, especially in this week when we celebrated the International Day of the Girl Child, and the theme was digital generation.
Our generation.
Our generation,
Yes.
the generation we are in.
Yes.
But, Doctor, it is also important because someone might be asking digital generation and then early childhood development and looking at how the two connect. How do they connect?
They are really very connected because digital generation brings about a digital citizenship.
Yes.
Digital citizenship is about having the skills, first of all, having the knowledge, the skills, and the behavior to appropriately use technology.
Yes.
And we know that technology spans from, a phone. We now have digital cameras. Everything is digital, even TV, all that. And it is really connected because in this COVID era, our children are exposed because of the redundancy. They are exposed to digital technology many hours than ever before. I run the Stepping Stone platform, which is a where we mentor adolescents and young people about sexuality, reproductive health, but also about life skills and career coaching. One thing I have noted, that something that is killing our children is the misuse of the gadgets that we gave them. We gave them gadgets for school. They opened WhatsApp groups for school, but guess what? They have turned those WhatsApp groups into social other, groups. Yeah. And on those social groups, there is no parental control. Maybe here, when the child is in class, you have the timetable, when the child is in class and not.
Some parents don't even understand the flow of WhatsApp. So
they don't even know. And it's not only WhatsApp. There are so many apps that children are using. The Google Meetings, the Zoom, the Botim. There are so many, So in this era, where we cannot do away without technology, we had better us beginning with what is within our control. Because I don't want to start by blaming government, all that. I should first begin with myself. What is within my control? As I celebrate the Day of the Girl Child, and they are talking about digital generation, I, as a mother, as a teacher, as an educationist, because I'm an educationist at Chisas College School, I, as a mentor in the Stepping Stone platform, how do I link technology to, for example, the mental health of our children? Yes. Let me give you an example. I have found children who are misbehaving, who have conflict with parents, and the primary cause is the phone. The child wants to chat with his friends up to 2 a.m. Remember, in the morning, the child has class. In the morning, the child has to do some housework. So the conflict that has come up is that mother doesn't understand me. Yeah. The child doesn't understand the mother.
They are not giving me my freedom.
They are not giving me my freedom, but children should know that we are guardians. They are still children. I mean, they should know that they are children.
It takes us back to early childhood.
Exactly.
What you instill in this child when they're
the
still young.
Social, emotional, intellectual exposures. What did you put in? It's like now the computer. Garbage in, garbage out. If you did not mind, letting your child understand that you are actually the guardian, instilling some of those skills, the soft skills, that a child should actually be respectful, that the child should know how to communicate. Those are simple things. We learned them. You remember our parents would say, how are you talking to me? Yes. Can you kneel down? Can you talk properly? Can you do this? All those things. But now these days we think the child is on phone. Even sometimes I even wonder, let me tell you, Edwin, parents come to the Stepping Stone Center. They have come for mentorship. There is an issue with the child. Maybe the child is watching porn, and they have come for, for mentorship and coaching. When they enter the room, the counseling room, the parent enters his own phone. The parent has entered his own phone. So, what are you role modeling? That means you as a role model, even if we celebrate the digital, the theme, you are not, as a parent, you are not a role model. So this child does not have anybody to emulate. Yeah. So then you'll come and say, my child is addicted to the phone. But you are also showing signs of addiction. So don't talk about, celebrating the digital era when you as a parent, first of all, you are not digitally appropriate. You cannot even put parental controls on the child's phone. The child is 3 years. You are giving a high dose, I should say. You are giving a high dose of technology. Whereas at that age, you should be giving a low what? Dose. A low dose. If I give you Panadol and I tell you, you as an adult, take 2 times 3. If you bring me a 3-year-old, I'll tell you, let you break this tablet into half and you give this child 3 times. The same thing with technology. You are giving high dose of technology at a very early age. So you are affecting the early childhood development of this child. At 4 years, you are letting
them to something that
a
is
very high dose. So the child will be mentally unstable. They will have mental health issues, because you have exposed the child. So as we celebrate this week, Edwin, let's check ourselves as parents. We are not just saying, the girl child is abused. Of course, we know the abuse and all that. Let's start with you as a parent. What are you doing, even at the early times? So that by the time the child walks through the life cycle to adolescence, you are actually talking about because different themes will be coming up. Yeah. Early childhood development is constant. The day of the girl child is focusing on the adolescent girl, who should be, focused on at the time of birth up to 8 years in a special way. Because these are the age times when the brain is growing very fast. Any exposure, any abuse, any language, any socialization, any emotional non-support, anything that is happening at this age, because next year it's going to be another theme. Yeah. But early childhood development,
is constant.
Is a constant. So when we are drawing these themes, I would like the conceptualization to actually concentrate on building from what happens from early childhood development. Then we can start thinking about the adolescent girls. I see parents conflicting with children. Yeah. You have given a lot of freedom right from 5 years. The child can say anything. The child can respond. It's my right. Yes, I totally appreciate. How do you say it is your right? What about nutrition? Simple things. Today we are not really discussing nutrition, but I'm giving you the key pointers in early childhood development. We are here, elite mothers, we don't want to breastfeed. Yeah. We are here, elite mothers, we are talking about fast foods. Even parents, I told you I have a school. Parents come to school and they say, my child cannot eat posho and beans. Then you are like, the beans have a lot of proteins. The posho is for energy. You need energy, you need the bodybuilding. So even us, we are hitting ourselves on the head. So let's begin with ourselves. But I am just calling to action that as we celebrate, we are going to celebrate many other days, but as we celebrate the day of the girl child, the constant is early childhood development. When the children are in school, when they go back, let's not only look at children learning the math, the chems. Yes, I like the maths. I'm also a mother, by the way. I like the maths. But to build a holistic child, there are other skills that are needed. So that we celebrate the next girl, the next International Day of the Girl Child, when we have also done our part. Then the government can come in, community leaders can come in, religious leaders can come in. But my key message is that before we talk about the adolescent, let's talk about early childhood development. Let it be in the middle, because the different components of early childhood development are the ones that are going to lead you to the other adolescent girl that you are celebrating, that you want people to affirm. You know, I was talking about the pregnancies. If our adolescent girls cannot say no to sex, you know, just because they cannot communicate, they cannot look straight in the eyes, they cannot know danger times, you know. Yes, I appreciate they go to the well. I mean, they are using the phones to start romantic relationships. On the phone, there is cyberbullying. Did you know there is cyberbullying? Yes. It is not just the physical bullying, there is cyberbullying. How are we building this whole girl that we are celebrating in this era? And we tell them that people can advance sexual relationship requests using that phone you have. How have you trained your child to identify those? So, Edwin, as we celebrate that day, the International Day of the Girl Child, I just reiterate that early childhood development is very centric in, you know, talking about the success of the adolescent girl. Wow. I have seen it all over. As I continue mentoring and coaching in the Stepping Stone platform, I really see this is a very core area.
Where is your office located?
The office is located in Chisasi. We have an adolescent center where they come, they talk, and even when the child is there playing, you can see a child who has a problem during the early years. They can't mix, they have no flexibility, so all these things. So what I tell parents is that let's consult people. I mean, we are there to help. The center is open 24/7, and I'm the CEO of the Stepping Stone Center. So bring your children and we celebrate the digital era as we get other mentorship.
Wow. So
should I share my number? Is that fine?
Yes.
Please reach the Stepping Stone platform on 0772 750 708 or 0701 750 705 for us to continue the discussion and the coaching.
All right, Doctor.
Thank you very much.
It has been indeed an interactive session. So we are grateful, and I believe a parent there has taken this information so careful. And please let us do our part, and then we'll leave the rest to do their part as well. Edwin Austin Mukalas is my name. Dr. Hanifah was our panelist today, and Mebo Murungi, the sign language interpreter. Thank you for watching HealthPort. Thank you so much for watching Church of Uganda Family TV. God bless you so much. We meet again next time. Goodbye.